Power School notification.
Hey, good morning. It is Monday, April 8th, and today is our Monday morning training. Thank you so much for coming on. And today we're going to be talking about putting a plan together and showing you guys what it takes to earn at least $200,000 over the next 12 months. We're going to talk about the importance of that. I think about this a lot because, I remember forever we would talk about how, like, to make six figures was a pretty big deal. To make $100,000 in a year was a pretty big deal. And, nowadays I just don't feel like it's nearly enough. And that's why, because I used to do a training about, how to earn at least 100,000 your first year in the business. And I think you got to focus a little bit bigger now. The cost of everything costs more, everything else. It's good to plan to make even more. And I think 200,000 is just the beginning. We can always get bigger and better from there. I have Chris on with me this morning as well. Good morning, Chris. How you doing?
I'm excited for the end of the world. Maybe this is the last recording we ever do, but hey, we'll make it a good one.
Hey, I hope it's not, but hey, if it is, I'm sure we'll make it a good one. So let's see. Let's see. So again, today's topic: earn $200,000 over the next 12 months. So the average monthly expenses for a family of four, this is just something that I found online. And for me, I'm a family of six. Yeah, I'm a family of six plus three dogs. So the average expenses for a family of four, that's a husband and wife, two children. Average expenses for a family of four in the United States right now is $8,500 a month. So if you do the math on that, that's $102,000 a year in just expenses. So if all you're doing is making enough money to cover your expenses for your family of four, you're not saving any money. And I kind of feel like that's the situation a lot of people in our country are in right now, where they're making just enough money to get by. And that's where what I like about our business is that you can be the one to decide how much money that you want to make, how much money you need to make to not only cover all of your expenses, but to get ahead a little bit. So, because, like I said, who wants to be average? Who wants to just be the average? Who wants to, just enough to get by? What's it going to take to earn over $200,000 in the next 12 months? Well, one thing, I think it's going to take some goal setting. I think that it's important to kind of put your plan in place and to set goals, an annual goal. Okay, well, let's see my annual goal. Well, let's see how much money or how much production do I need to do to earn that $200,000 over the next 12 months? How much am I going to have to do monthly? How much am I going to have to do weekly? How much am I going to have to do every day? It's pretty simple. You just break it down into smaller numbers. And, that's one thing I like too with Chris. We have the morning call that you do, Chris. And, I think that's something too that, anybody can get on, but I think it really helps with maybe staying on track a little bit with things, holding ourselves accountable. We talk a lot about our goals. I don't know, maybe you want to fill people in a little bit on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I learned this. I didn't create this concept, but most things you can just follow along, duplicate, and it works well. We do a morning call every morning, every business day of the year, mostly Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, which would be 8 Central, 7 out West. Whatever time it is, the earlier it is, the more strategic advantage you have in your day, honestly. But 9 a.m. Eastern, we get on, and there's about 15 minutes, maybe 12, of just nuts and bolts, bite-sized training. The kind of stuff that keeps you up on your game, ready for stuff that you're going to encounter. And then there's, a little bit of news items, if there's any changes in the industry, contests, incentives, updates. Things are constantly changing in the business, and we always keep people up to date on those changes. And then anyone who is interested in calls out their production from the day prior Or for Tuesday, for example, we'll call it anything since Friday. And it gives you an opportunity to be self-accountable about what you did and that you did it. And that little bit of self-accountability goes a long way in getting people to success and to 200K. And then at the end of the call, our final 5 minutes, we tend to interview whoever wrote the most business. And so you can hear what they're doing so that you can do it yourself. And I've always practiced, to kind of wrap it up, Adam, since the very beginning of my time in the industry and the very first conference calls I was ever involved in, is that's when I clocked in for the day. That's when I went to work. That's when the day started. And most importantly, I had to be out of my house before that call started. If I was in my home and that call was on, something was wrong. And that almost never happened. I used it as my clock in and my gauge to make sure that I had left for the day and was ready to start my day when that call was over.
Yeah. And, and again, for you, I think that works out well. And for me, I like having that first appointment set like that 9 a.m. because I'm an hour behind you. But yeah, I mean, I like it because like you said, you call out your numbers, it kind of holds yourself accountable, especially me too. I mean, heck, when I'm still out writing business, I got other agents on the call. Like if I'm calling out numbers, like I got to show these guys that I can hit them.
Exactly.
So I like it. I think it keeps everybody a little bit motivated. And if anybody wants more information on that, on the Insurance Life and everything in between Facebook group, and I think some of you are probably watching on that right now. You can see the information on there to hop on a call, and heck, why not? I think everybody's a little bit different. Some people like that stuff. Some people don't feel like they need it, but I mean, I like it. I probably chimed in a lot more this year than in years past, or at least last year. And like I said, yeah, it kind of keeps everybody going, kind of keeps everybody on the same, on the same page with things, keeps you updated on things, keeps you up to speed on everything outside of just the different things that we post in the Facebook group. So,
yeah.
But again, yeah,
I think I put too much sugar in the coffee today. The first thing, the little things in business cause the big things to fall in place. I know you believe this, Adam. I'm preaching to the choir to tell you that, but a little 25-minute conference call might sound inconsequential and almost dumb to someone that hasn't done it yet. But the moment you hear something on a call that you encounter in the field, and then you make the sale because you heard it, you get it. It sounds silly until you see it take place. Second, for those of you that listen today, tomorrow, or 20 years in the future, for builders, I have made sure to protect myself from big roll-up because I have agents that are engaged, agents that are involved, and when they're not, it alerts me to pay attention to what's going on and how to prevent it from getting worse. And Adam and I both believe that if you're engaged, communicating, talking, seeing your agents, things are going well. And if you can't find them, something's wrong. And that's how we've always protected ourselves from major roll-up debt.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, when they hear like, oh God, they have like this morning call and then they have this training every week and all this other stuff, like it's just there to help people. Sometimes I think that term micromanaging gets thrown around a little bit too much. Like these are tools that are just here to help agents out there, people that are maybe even new to the business that need a little bit of help and support. And that's what it's there for. I mean, we even have different contests that we talk about. Talk about that whatever it takes challenge. So I get my dog out of the way, Chris.
Yeah. So we have 2 active incentives running right now, and people that are call participating agents in our agency always get preferential treatment and access to these kind of incentives. The first one is the whatever it takes challenge. If you submit a whatever it takes moment from your sales week and yours is the best, that agent is winning free appointment setting the following week. Last week, one of our agents, Shannon, won. And he won because not only did he go out there and conserve a piece of business in a home, he wrote more business by showing up and doing his job properly, doing whatever it takes. The second incentive that we're running for those that are participating in our agency and on this kind of call is the top Medicare agent wins a cash bonus this year, and an agent who gets certified, ready to sell, and submits their first piece of Medicare business also receives an agency bonus in the month of April. So we give away a lot of incentives, we give away a lot of information, and we get people connected to each other because this business can be pretty lonely when you're out there in the car by yourself.
Exactly. So yeah, like I said, like kind of get back to what we're talking about here, but yeah, the contests are great. Just again, other things that are kind of keep people motivated and another thing, what's it going to take to earn that 200,000 over the next 12 months? I wouldn't say just this year. I would say you could focus on this year, but for those of you that maybe are just getting started, that's why I kind of changed it really today to just over the next 12 months. What can you do starting today over the next 12 months to hit that 200,000? You got to put the time in. That's, I mean, it should be self-explanatory. I think work ethic is key. You're not just going to wake up one morning and all this money is flowing into your bank account if you don't put that time in. If you don't put the time in to make it happen, you can spend as much time on our trainings, any other trainings that you find out there that can help you. That's just turning you into a professional student. You got to get out there and you got to get out there and do it.
Yeah.
So you got to take action, and by taking action, I mean that means you got to be willing to put that time in. And what I mean by that, when we're working leads, well, we're not going to catch every single person at home at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We're not going to catch them home at 3 in the afternoon. Sometimes we got to work after 5 o'clock at night. Sometimes we have to, well, most of the time we have to work after 5 o'clock at night. Weekends. I think Saturdays are important, especially a brand new agent. Like when I first got in the business, I never took off on a Saturday. Like now I don't work many Saturdays, but I've been doing this for 21 years. When I first got in the business, you would not find me at home on a Saturday. I was in my early 20s. I might've been out late the night before. I still got up and I worked Saturday morning, and I was out all day, probably till at least 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday. Because there's people that are working during the day. Only time we can catch them in the evening or on a weekend. You got to be willing to put that time in. And if you don't put that sort of time in, you're wasting money on leads because you're not doing whatever it takes to get in front of those people. So again, put that time in. And like I said, especially if you're brand new, you got to focus on this being like at least a 6-hour work or 6-day work week, Monday through Saturday. Maybe take off on Sunday, but heck, the more time you put in, the more you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, I got a minimum for you. For the first 2 years of your career, if you're not doing at least 2 power days, that means 10 a.m. until like 6, 7, 8 full on power days and 2 Saturdays a month for 2 years. That's all. And then it'll all kind of settle into place. But if you're not willing to do at least that in the very beginning, you're going to make that learning curve really long, and that opportunity for long-term stability harder to achieve, and the chance that you're going to be making 200 grand a year harder to make. 2 power days, that means way past business hours, at least 2 days a week. I did 5 in the beginning, and 2 Saturdays, and just go out on a Saturday. Adam, here's how I view it. Maybe you can tell it a different way. Go out until you write one piece of business, then you're good. Or go out there and just one and done it, and whenever that one is, well, can't control that, but that puts you ahead of 99.9% of the other jokers out there.
Well, if you go out there with that mindset, what usually happens when you make that sale, especially you go out on a Saturday, you make that sale early in the day, you think you're going to cut off, like you're going to make that sale, you're going to be feeling so good, you're probably going to want to keep going.
Yeah.
So, and that's a good thing. So yeah, you got to be willing to put the time in. I mean, that's one of the most important parts of this whole thing. And this is one I know, Chris, I say a lot, you got to be willing to bet on yourself. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of the way I put it when it comes to working leads, having that steady lead flow on a regular basis. You're betting on yourself. You're investing not only into leads, you're investing into the time that you're putting into this. But yeah, you're betting on yourself. You're investing, you're spending that money on the leads. You're the one who has to go out and work them. I had a guy that placed 4 weeks worth of direct mail leads once, and then he never went out and worked them. Like, what's the point? That's a pretty good way of making sure that you don't win the bet.
I see that. I see that too. It's like, what are you like, why'd you waste everyone's time? Like, why did you waste your
Yeah.
own personal time and the one life you have to live if you weren't going to actually put in the efforts? It's
Yeah.
mind boggling.
Yeah. It's like people, I don't know, maybe so they can go and tell their friends that, they're in the insurance business and like they just bought a bunch of leads and like they're just really busy. Um, I don't get it.
I think
Um,
some people have to and this is an old Ben Bowmanism. Like they're constantly looking for something else to blame for their own failure. Well, I bought the
yeah.
leads and it still didn't work. Did you work them? But you didn't work them. Okay, then it's still your fault. Come
Yeah.
on.
I knocked on a door and they weren't home. These leads suck.
They're horrible.
Yeah. So, uh, um, you got to be consistent, following through with everything we teach you today. Like I said, that everything that we teach you is stuff that we have already done that has worked. So there's really no sense in trying to reinvent the wheel. I've seen that a lot too. I'll take someone out, I train them, I show them a certain way to do it. They see me write all this business, and then they go home and then they try to come up with an easier way to do it because it was a tough day out there. We spent a lot of time out in the field. So, and then they don't see the same results and they're trying to figure out why. And it's because that's what they're doing. They're reinventing something that doesn't need to be fixed. They're trying to fix something that's not broken.
Yeah.
So
it's just there isn't an easier way to make 200 grand. There's not. Like, let's just keep it simple. There's no easier way to do it. Stop trying.
yeah, if there was a better way to do it, I would teach you that way to do it. We teach you what works, and that's why there's no reason to try to fix what's not broken. So little commercial break here. Be sure to check out the Insurance Life and Everything in Between podcast that's on YouTube, as well as the audio formats now on Spotify, on Apple, and as you can see on all these others, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts. I don't even know what these other things are, but they're on there.
We're on there.
Amazon Music. You could even tell Alexa to play our podcast, and it'll play it. So check it out. Try it. It's fun. And and you'll pick up some pretty good tips and some pretty good content on there as well. We are putting out about, I would say on average, at least 3 new podcasts a week. So lots of good content. And I always tell people the best thing you can do is when you're out working, put it on when you're driving around. You're going to learn more from that than listening to music all day when you're in the field running leads and heading to your next appointment. So, and again, the more knowledge you can consume, the better you're going to get. And you're learning stuff from guys that, me and Chris combined over 30 years in the business, as well as other people that we interview that have a lot of good tips and a lot of good things to share, as well as the winners, like we were talking about with the Whatever It Takes challenge. They're also going to be interviewed on our podcast. They can tell their story to the world of what they did to succeed, and they can let the whole world kind of know who they are and what they're doing to achieve success in the business.
Absolutely.
So be sure to check out our podcast. And then my agency, Unity Life Group, we're always looking to bring on new people. We bring on people all over the country. I have a kind of like a local thing going right now with some full-time agents, but we also do bring on people throughout the country, looking to build and grow everywhere. So if you're looking for some help, maybe you're not getting it where you're at. And maybe you hop on our trainings and you're like, man, these guys really know what they're talking about. Well, reach out to me. I'd be happy to set up a call with you, see what we could do. We have home sales as well. It's telesales, lead programs for both. And as you can see, our weekly training today, as well as we have the calls every single day and many other things to help and support agents. Great opportunity to build a team. We work with multiple carriers. It's not like a one captive contract sort of thing. And we do have high-level contracts available as well for those that maybe are experienced and have an agency and they want to come over and bring agents with them as well. So feel free to reach out to me. Be happy to set up a call, see what we can do to put you in a good spot for long-term success.
Yeah, if you're
And we're
anywhere
doing
near
final
Illinois,
expense. We're doing, what's that, Chris?
if you're anywhere near Illinois and you need to get yourself right in this business, then drive, meet Adam where he is, get in the car with him, see what he's doing. And if you guys line up personality wise, go to work. Like that is an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, most definitely. We're doing final expense, regular life insurance. We're getting into the Medicare business as well. Lots of good things happening, and a lot of people that could probably use the help and support that don't get it. Some of these questions I see even in some of the Facebook groups, and it's like, wow, like that's a pretty simple question. You would think that people would have somebody to turn to, that they'd be able to ask that question to, or they wouldn't have to ask it amongst a large group of people. Maybe they're looking for a second opinion. I don't know. I think that it just seems like there's a lot of people out there that are like, almost feels like they're just kind of out there on an island all by themselves, and they're not getting any kind of support or help. But that's where we can help you. We can do what we can to help you. Again, 21 years in the business. Chris is going on 9, almost 10 years. Been doing it a long time, lots of success. And that's what we're here to do, is just to kind of help you guys. So did you know that if you work 25 leads a week, every single week, and you are only able to set appointments on half of them, and you are only able to sell half of your appointments, you will earn $274,560 in 2024, or over the next 12 months. So you start ordering 25 leads a week. You're only able to set up appointments on, say, 12 of them, and you write 6 pieces of business. That's all it takes. You're going to earn $274,560 over the next 12 months. The key is having that steady flow of leads. Now let's break it down. 25 leads, 12 appointments, 6 sales. One thing I'm noticing is that the average premiums are getting higher. I base this on an average annualized premium of $800. And I think that might even be a little bit low this year. It seems like people realize that the costs of funerals are going up. They continue to go up. And they're realizing that they just need more coverage. I've written so many $10,000 policies over the last 20 years where that used to be enough to cover a burial, and now it's not. Now I would say the average policy I write is probably closer to a $20,000 face amount, or $25,000. So people understand that funerals cost more. If they still want to be put away the same way, well, they're going to have to make sure that they have enough coverage to do so. And that means that more than likely the premium is going to be a little bit higher. So, but I base it off of $800 annualized, which I think right now, like I said, might even be a little bit low. So that's $4,800 in premium a week off of the 6 sales that you made, off of 25 leads, which I feel is very doable. And then we base that 52 weeks. That's $249,600 at an average street level commission. I know some guys, maybe they start a little bit lower. They work their way up to that. Some people work maybe a little bit over that. But I just thought that would be a good number to show. Right there at 110%, you're at $274,000 just by having that consistent, steady flow of leads every single week, and having those people to go see and having those appointments set, and only closing half of the appointments. The longer you do this, the better you're going to get. I see that as being pretty achievable. Don't you think, Chris?
Yeah, I wrote down a couple notes here that I think edify that even further. Our agency's average premium is approximately 960 AP, sometimes as high as 1,200 AP. Why is that significantly higher than most other agents are writing? It's training. It's data to prove that number is sustainable. It's true Social Security billing carriers. It's the value that provided in the sale, and it's the cross sale in the sale. Like if you're helping people save money on their Medicare and get money on their life insurance, like the whole thing balances itself out. So why is our average premium so much higher than most other agencies? almost $100 a month some weeks, sometimes 90, maybe 80, but never any lower than that. It's the training that we heard about to open this call, the data that shows that it works, the right carriers, the value, and the total proposition you're offering as an agent, not a one and done, hit it, quit it kind of salesperson.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And and like I said, it seems like everything's just costing more. People realize, I mean, I don't know, $50 I feel like used to be like my average premium. It was like right around $50 a month. And I never want to oversell. I never want to put somebody in something that they can only afford the first month and then they realize, oh shoot, I got to pay for this every month. I can't handle this. Like I want to make sure they can handle it every month. And I even bring that up to people, but I would say my average premium now is probably closer to 70 to 80 a month.
Yep.
And it's just, again, because people realize that they need more coverage and everything costs more money. So they understand they need more coverage and they're willing to put forth a little bit more money every month to cover that premium.
Yeah. And to make over $200K a year, you can't be writing $20 and $30 policies on a $40 direct mail lead. It just statistically doesn't work. And to kind of wrap up that segment there, on my opinion of it, is people are afraid, Adam, well, if I write bigger numbers to hit this 200K, I'm going to have more chargebacks. Here's the thing. You're going to lose a certain percent of your business no matter what the average premium is. You're going to lose 10, 15, 20%, whatever your personal average is. You're going to lose that percentage of whatever your average premium is. So if your average premium is $30 a month, you're going to lose 15% of $30 a month. If your average premium is $75 a month, you're going to lose 15% of 75. The agent just has to decide what it's going to be.
Well, I think too, and maybe I'll do this training next week, talking about tips to keep business on the books. But again, I mean, I think that setting draft dates is essential. Like that to me is more important than how much they're paying every month. Because you'll be much more confident that that payment is going to clear every month if you're setting that draft date when it needs to be set. And what I mean by that is when they're receiving their Social Security, whether that's the first, the third, the second, third, or fourth Wednesday. I'd also recommend to be writing business with the carriers that are doing this true Social Security billing, where if they receive their paycheck or their Social Security, I mean, on let's say the first, and the first falls on a Saturday, well, they're actually going to get it the day prior on that Friday. Same with the third. If the third falls on the weekend, they'll get it on that Friday. So that's to me is essential. More important than the amount of the monthly premium is just making sure to set it to coincide with the Social Security. And then you can kind of feel pretty good knowing that that money's always going to be there. Every once in a while, you'll still get some NSFs. It happens. Account frozen, things like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, your persistency is going to be a heck of a lot higher just by doing that one little thing and taking control is really what I think it is. You want to be in control in the presentation. When you ask that person, this is on a bank draft, what's a good date? And if they tell you the 5th, you just don't put down the 5th.
Not even
you tell them, okay, well, do you get paid on the 1st or do you get paid on the 3rd? They're going to tell you, yes, well, we actually have to set it for that date. And, okay. And just tell them it's very accurate. It's always going to be on that date. But just a little tip there. But like I said, maybe next week I'll get into a little bit more about the different ways of helping when it comes to persistency. Because persistency, I feel like final expense gets a bad rap when it comes to people thinking that you're going to have poor persistency. But I think so much of it, especially these days when everything is set up on EFT, a lot of it, it's an accountability issue. The agent needs to be the one making sure they set those draft dates properly, and they're not going to worry nearly as much about the business falling off the books. So
persistency, I think, and we should definitely unpack this next week, is a combination of consistency. Like, are you actually going to work on a regular basis? If you're not, then chargebacks are going to build up. That same 15% just rolls over without anything new behind it. Are you consistently working? Are you consistently buying leads? Are you working a consistent system where people are like, or are you just out on your own hoping something good will happen? And do you have a consistent sales system? Like you go in the home and give the same presentation, present the same consistent products. If any of those things aren't there, no wonder your persistency is garbage.
Yeah, I think you're right. Consistency is like a big word. And I think that it's probably any business. It's all about consistency, but especially when you're running your own business and our business, well, you got to be consistent with a lot of things. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Maybe next week I'll do that training on keeping your business on the books and improving your persistency. So let's say that you work 30 leads every week. Well, let's break those numbers down. Pretty much the same thing. 16 appointments, 8 sales, 6,400 in premium over the 52 weeks. That's 332,800. At that 110, you're looking at 366,000. So 8 sales is very doable, especially when you have the leads and you have the appointments to do it. And you're just doing everything that you can out in the field, over and above, even like we talk about, making sure to door knock leads in between appointments. And when you have a no-show, making sure that you know your next move and you're going to be able to go see people. So again, it's just pretty self-explanatory. Consistency when it comes to the leads and just having that schedule every week of what you're going to do. And the numbers, they work. The numbers add up. Chris is proof of that. Chris, you wrote what, like average, like over 400,000 every year. How many leads do you work every week?
So last week, proof and point. Here's the numbers as real as I got them for you on the fly. I had 30 leads. Now that same 30 leads in that same city, 6 weeks in a row, mind you. You can't just buy 30 leads and think this is going to happen every week. It's the consistency of doing it every week that makes this work. 30 leads, 18 appointments from our in-house appointment setting team, and 9,912 in life premium on 11 applications and 7 Medicare enrollments. His numbers aren't made up. Like, this is exactly what happened last week.
Well, God, and if you think about that, let me see. I'll try to figure that out real quick. Just 9,000 over a year. Yeah. You're over, at 468,000 if you were to write 9,000 every week.
There it is.
And
again. Yeah.
You're pretty close to that. Every week, I know you're doing, 7, 8, 9, 10,000, maybe even more some weeks. And even myself, same thing. When we have that steady flow of leads, the funny thing is that Chris and I, we are not out in the field 6 days a week. I'm out in the field 3 days. I think Chris is out there maybe sometimes 3 days, sometimes 2 days. But when we're out in the field, we're putting the time in. We're putting the time in. We have a full day's worth of appointments every day. We're out there for the most part, and we're doing everything that we can to get in front of as many people as we can to get the most out of our time, and it pays off. So
I think
the
people
numbers
need to realize that we are the uncontrollable variable in this whole math equation. Like, to write 200K a year is statistically shown to you right here. And the insurance statistically proven and tested, mortality, morbidity, all of this stuff. It's all one set formula. We are the uncontrollable variable that decides if that takes place or it doesn't.
Yeah. And heck, we're showing you not only how to make 200,000. We're showing you a plan here really that's going to put you, to set you up to make 300,000 to 400,000 really. So, and again, it sounds harder than it really is, in my opinion. It's just a matter of being consistent and treating this as a full-time career, get out in the field every day like you would any other job, and putting the time in and making sure you have that steady flow of leads on a regular basis. And then we can add in referrals. 6 sales a week, 1 referral each. And let's say, okay, so you make 6 sales in a week, and let's say you just got 1 referral on each of those sales, and you only sold 1 out of the 6. All right. You're probably going to do more than that. But I would rather show you low numbers. Like I said, we're just basing this on 1 sale off of 6 referrals. To me, referrals, are really good leads. I mean, they're free leads. You're going to get a lot more out of 6 referrals, I would say, than one sale. But that one extra sale each week would earn you an additional $45,760 in annual income. And I feel like so many agents, they get so excited when they make that sale. They're jumping up and down and they're running out the door, and they get back to their car and they're like, oh, shoot, I should have probably asked them for some referrals, some other people that they know. And right away, right there, heck, you're walking away from at least $45,000 a year if you're not asking for referrals when you're in a home. So be
One
sure to
more.
be asking. If you don't ask, you're not going to get them.
The week prior, I found the numbers again. 8,820 in final expense premium, 12 applications, 5 Medicare enrollments from 30 leads every single week, not just 1 week, on 18 appointments. I mean, Adam, it's almost statistically the exact same thing. We're talking about a variable of how much difference in premium? 1,100. It's like the same thing every single week. We are the uncontrollable variable on that. 18 appointments, 30 leads, 8 to 9K.
Yeah.
Rinse and
It's
repeat.
crazy how it works out that way. And again, so much of it is, again, I could say consistency. We could have played a game today and seen how many times I say it, but that's what it has to do with is,
the world is ending, so we could just drink to it.
Yeah. Having that steady flow of leads on a regular basis. And the reason why, like Chris mentioned, it's not like he said, you can't just order 30 leads and expect these sort of results. We're not setting up 16 appointments every week off of just those 30 leads that we just got. I mean, these are appointments being set off of the leads from this week, from the prior week, from the week prior to that. It's about building up that inventory of leads, because you're not going to reach every single person that first week. There's going to be lots of carryover from 1 week to the next, to the next, to the next. But by having that inventory of people to contact, that's how you can set yourself up with that steady flow of appointments every single week. So that's really what it takes. It's not just the 1 week and, well, I had 30 leads, I only set 10 appointments. Well, if you would have had 30 weeks the prior week, you probably would have set up another 3 or 4, and the week prior to that, another couple off of those.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote an app a couple weeks ago. It was over 2,000 in premium off of a lead that was from June of last year. So, that's the thing, not just the current leads, but even leads from heck, that was what, almost 10 months ago. I wrote a piece of business off of it, which I never would have done had I not had the steady flow of leads on a regular basis. And well, the appointment setters too, calling leads that I already pretty much threw the towel in on, which makes a difference too. So let's talk about having a schedule. And you can set your schedule pretty much any way that you want, as long as you're able to figure out a way to work the numbers in. I would say, unless you have an appointment setter, and if you're brand new, I would recommend to probably set appointments yourself, learn how to do it yourself and get good at it. And, you can always hire it out later, but set aside 2 days, I would say, to focus on setting up appointments and for keeping up with your business. When that comes to, we get NSFs, we have people that might have wanted to call in to cancel, like things like that. There is some busy work involved where we got to maybe spend a little bit of time in the office or at home to manage our business. But, take that time as well to set up your appointments, or hire, like I said, or hire an appointment setter. And I would say, this is just an example. You could call on Monday to set Tuesday and Wednesday. Or you could even call Sunday for Monday and Tuesday, which would probably be good. I think you probably catch a lot of people at home, and maybe even a better chance of them answering their phone on a Sunday over a Monday. So, you could call on Monday for Tuesday and Wednesday, or you could call Sunday for Monday and Tuesday. You could call on Thursday to set Friday and Saturday, or you could call on Wednesday to set up your Thursday and Friday. And set up appointments on the hour. The reason I think you can do that is because, well, I would focus on if you're in the field doing this, I would focus on direct mail leads. The great thing about direct mail is that you can order those leads most places based off of the zip code, and then every single week you can place the lead order, like either in more in that zip code or maybe the next zip code over. You can keep your business relatively close together, location wise, where I think you could set them up on the hour. Another reason you can set them up on the hour is because not everybody's going to be home, unfortunately. But set them up on the hour, and you set them up all day. You can really fill up your whole day. And man, I'm telling you, boy, if you write one early in the day, that it puts you in a good groove, and then you got someone else right away to go see your next stop. You're already confident. You're already feeling good. End up writing another one. And, same thing. I mean, I remember one day last year, and I know you've had days like this too, Chris, but I think I had 8 appointments, and I wrote every single appointment. Every single one happened to be home, and I wrote businesses on every single one of them. And I think for me, it was more, well, I mean, I've been doing it a while. I'm pretty good, but I mean, I think it also had something to do with just, again, just kind of having just even more confidence, feeling so good, going from that one step to the next, and just kind of being sky high with this, feeling good about it, and just can't wait to go see that next person. So
But see, what happens is the agents that don't make the money that they wanted to make because they didn't want it bad enough, or the why wasn't big enough, and they don't have a system, they don't have a consistent lead order, and they didn't spend $1,000 on a Friday that have to make them back on Monday. Adam, this is what they do. You ready? Here's their schedule. Monday, sleep in, wake up around 11, dial for like an hour. That get back on Netflix. Tuesday, go out, work, run the appointment that they set in 1 hour, get no-showed, go home. Wednesday, get really upset about the fact that they have no money, but they didn't buy any leads and really haven't worked yet, and door knock for 3 hours. Nobody home. It's the lead's fault. Thursday, I'll try again next week. Like, that's literally what they're doing, though. Like, there isn't an actual schedule to it. It's like, whoa, let's see what happens.
Well, yeah. And I mean, it's a shame. I mean, God, how many leads have you worked that, maybe another agent in and out of the business, they just, it's not for me. It's too hard. And just, you take their leads, you go out and work them. And it's like, there's so many sales there to be made. And it's just, so much of it. Again, we talk about the work ethic and the effort and putting the time in. And
here's another one for you. I have to disposition every one of these leads for me to be successful. If I don't disposition the lead, I can't buy more leads. Throw them out. Like, there's an entire box of this stuff I've never gotten to, and I'm never going to get to. It's these people that are stuck in the mindset that, well, I'm going to make 200K, but I have to see every single person in this lead before I can buy more of them.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, you can't get wrapped up. Or the worst one, they want to make 200K, but as soon as Alonzo Marvine tells them no at the door, I just wasted $40. What a waste. There goes $40. It's part of the overall investment each week that matters, that you do every week, that gets you to the number, not these like microcosm little thoughts that people infect themselves with.
Well, or they get shut down on one lead and then they don't want to work the rest of them. And I mean, again, Leah, look at that. Again, we're talking about inventory of leads and just having enough people to see. The numbers are going to work themselves out. You're going to be able to sit in front of enough people on a regular basis to make plenty of sales as long as you have that inventory of leads. You can't, like you said too, Chris, you can't work a lead order to death to the point where, I can't place another order until I've gone through these. I've done that a few times, or maybe not on purpose, but just kind of get to the point. I'm so busy, I don't place another lead order, and then I'm running real thin. And heck, my week last week was kind of like that. The week prior, in 3 days, I wrote just about 10,000 in premium, and I was just so busy out in the field writing. And then we had Easter, and it was like Good Friday. I think I took off Good Friday, went out with my family and did some things. And And I remember Monday, I was like, oh, shoot, I didn't place an order for this week. I placed it on Monday and it just wasn't enough time. Last week, I was just kind of running around, kind of doing whatever I could to find people to go see because I didn't do my part. I wasn't responsible when it came to making sure that I had those leads going and ready to go work. So yeah, it's just so important to have that steady flow every single week. And I mean, I'll say it again, consistency is the key. That's it. There's another one. So let's see. And then let's see, where are we at here? So your appointments and door knock anybody that rejected you on the phone or that did not answer. If you call your leads and they reject you or they just don't answer the phone and you're like, well, they must not be interested. They never answer their phone. Same thing. You're going to be wasting a lot of leads. You need to be door knocking the no answers, door knock the rejections. As I mentioned, when you are out in the field, is going to be home, but that's where you can set up a route of all those people that rejected you or that did not answer the phone, and you can go see them. And so many times I'll show up and, well, why didn't you call first? Well, I did. I called you probably 5 times, but people just don't answer their phones. I mean, I knew that you filled this out. You had to have been interested. I just wanted to make sure that you got the information that you needed. So that's how you can handle it. Most times though, and another thing too, I mean, if you get rejected, very seldom is that person going to remember. If you show up at the door, I don't think it's ever happened where I show up and they're like, didn't I tell you I wasn't interested when you called me? It's like,
Never
they
happened.
don't even realize
Never
I'm the same person.
Never happened.
No, they're like pre-programmed on the phone to just say no, that they're not interested. They think it's a telemarketer calling them. I'll be in a home presenting to somebody and their phone's just ringing off the hook. People calling and calling. It's probably other agents calling because they filled out 10 Facebook ad leads.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the one who just decided rather than call to just show up. So I'm sitting with them to write the business while all the other people are calling. But again, I mean, at the end of the day, any rejection, they're not going to remember. They might be mean to you over the phone. You could show up and they could be the nicest person in the world. It's happened to me many times. And then, additional training, you can check out my website, adambersan.com/training. And then also the YouTube, youtube.com/C/AdamBersan. Also, you can check out the Insurance Life and Everything in Between YouTube channel as well. That's where a lot of our podcast episodes are on. And then we did have a few questions. I figured let's take a look here and see. Somebody had asked, actually, that's streaming in the StreamYard. They're asking, how much do the leads cost? And direct mail, I would say on average is around $40 a lead. And we do have a lead program where you can get set up on a steady flow of direct mail every single week. You can let us know how many leads you want, whether that's 20 leads or 30 leads. You can get set up on that steady flow every single week. And it works out pretty well. I'm set up the same way. I give them the zip codes that I want to work. And then every single week, those leads start trickling in. So, and then someone asked for the number of the morning call. I could probably email that to you, George.
Yeah.
And we can get that to you. Be happy to have you on. And if anybody else has any questions, feel free to put them in on either the StreamYard or on the Facebook group. And I think that is really about all I had for today. I mean, honestly, there's no like magic potion that we can sell you when it comes to writing 200,000 or more in premium every year. We can just show you what works. And it's honestly, it's really not that. It's, I think you could really overcomplicate it if you want to, and you don't have to. I mean, bottom line, what do we say? What are the 3 most important things? Leads every single week, consistency with going out and working them, and
said it again,
putting the time in.
Yep. People
And that's
just
it.
want to make this harder than it really is. In the
Yeah.
end, remember, you're selling simplified issue coverage. If you're not making it simple, you're overcomplicating it. No wonder it doesn't work. It's simplified issue coverage. That's all.
Yeah. And heck, 25 leads a week was like over 270,000 in income. 25 every single week. 30 leads was like 100,000 more than that. So again, it's just a matter of being consistent, not being afraid to invest in yourself, and putting the time in to make it happen. So, but thanks again, everybody, for hopping on today. And here's my contact information too for those of you that need to reach out to me for anything. Feel free to reach out to me. You can, if you are looking for a change, or maybe looking for someone to maybe help you out a little bit, feel free to check out unitylifegroup.com. You can click on opportunities, and you can fill out a form in there. I'd be happy to set up a call with you as well. So thanks again. And thank you, Chris, for hopping on as well.
Absolutely.
And I hope y'all have a great week. I'll see you again next week. Maybe next week we'll talk about steps that it's going to take to help you keep your business on the books. So thanks again. And like, follow, and subscribe. Thanks.
There we go.